Thank you very much for that introduction. When you have a great introduction, you don't want to speak, because if you speak, you might undermine the brand. So I wish what you've said is true, and I'll just go away without speaking. But anyway, I have to speak. I want to thank the organizers for allowing me this opportunity to share with you. My topic is the great expectations and daunting risks of artificial intelligence, implications for higher education, implications for libraries, implications for all of us. There are great opportunities, there are great expectations, there are also dangers. So what is important is to take advantage of the opportunities and mitigate and manage the dangers. Understand the dangers. But remember, technology is your friend. Technology cannot be banned. I've seen in Italy, they try to ban ChatGPT. You can't ban technology. Once the genie is out of the bottle, you can put it back. So your duty and obligation is to say, how do I, as a library information scientist, as a librarian, as an educator, how do I take advantage of the opportunities of AI? But how do I make sure I understand the dangers? How do I mitigate the dangers? You cannot ban technology. Technology is your friend. What are we saying? We want our education to be meaningful. We want the library to be meaningful. What we want to be able to solve global challenges. We want to solve energy poverty. We want to solve poverty in general. We want to resolve climate change. We want to be able to solve different global challenges, but to do that, we need a different type of graduate. We need to understand a different role for the library. We need to understand a different role for academia, for higher education. And there are three major pillars. Continental integration is important. Artificial intelligence is a driver. And of course, entrepreneurship and innovation are key. I give you this big picture because sometimes we miss the forest for the trees. I don't see the forest if you're busy grabbing the trunk of a tree. The big picture says Africans across the continent must work together. South Africa is too small in economy to be consequential. Botswana is too small. Nigeria is too small. We must think about 1.4 billion Africans working together with a collective GDP of $2.5 trillion. Can you imagine if you had to walk up and say, here I come, I'm the African. I speak on behalf of 1.4 billion Africans. And behind me, I have a GDP of $2.5 trillion. The Japanese will listen to you, not out of love, out of economics. The Americans will embrace you, not out of love, out of economics. The same applies to the Chinese and the Indians. When we go as Botswana and negotiate with China, as we go as Rwanda, we get shortchanged. When we negotiate as a bloc, we extract better value. So that's why I'm emphasizing that don't miss the forest for the tree. Continental integration is too important in the days of AI. Entrepreneurship and innovation are important. How many job creators are you producing in your university? How many entrepreneurs? How many Elon Musks have you produced? How many Bill Gates? How many patents? Don't tell me I produced some undergrads, I got some PhDs. I want to see some patents. I want to see some companies come out of UKZN. I want to see some companies coming out of UCT. I want to see you as librarians, you as educators producing job creators, producing companies. Those four drivers, we must keep them in mind. That is the context which we are having this conversation. And in doing all these things, let us be clear on the vision. What is the vision for the library under AI? What is the vision? What do you want? Paint the picture of the future. And having done that, you say, what can I do now from where I am in the gully to get to the top of the hill? That's your strategy, the game plan. Then, of course, execution, execution, execution. Implementation is strategy. Doing things is more important than dreaming. This model, Mr. President, you can use in your personal life. Where do I want to be in 20 years' time? You paint a picture. Then you come up with a strategy to take you to the destination. Then, of course, execution, execution, execution. Who's going to do what? When are they doing it? Where are the sources coming from? How are you going to measure success or lack of it? Where is your sequencing? How do you feedback? You can use it for the organization. You can use it for the library. You can use it for the university. You can use it for the country. You can use it for the continent. We must be planners, strategic thinkers. But of course, in this framework, we then use our AI. But this is a program we can use in our personal lives. Where do you want to be when you are 60? If you know that you want to be retired at 60, then you must produce the kids now. I'm telling you, you find people, when you are 20, 25 years, if you ask yourself, where do I want to be when I'm 60? If you say, I want to be relaxed at the beach, retired, which means you better start procreating so that those kids are out of the house at 60. Don't get married at 50. You can't retire at 60, right? Anyway, what do we mean by the fourth industrial revolution? The first was about water and steam. The second was about electric power. The third was about electronics and information. And remember, Africans were never players in that first one, in that second one, in that third. Why? Because there was slavery, there was colonialism, now there's neocolonialism. Now the fourth one is our opportunity as Africans, because now we've wised up. This one is building on the third. It's the fusion of technologies, blurring of lines between physical and digital. This is the fourth industrial revolution from 2011. And we have an opportunity to be players for a change on the continent of Africa. Why do we call it a revolution? Because of the velocity of the changes. Why do you call it a revolution? Because of the scope of the changes. Why do you call it a revolution? Because of the system's impact. The growth of AI in education, the growth of AI in commerce, the growth of AI in governance has brought a revolution which we call the fourth industrial revolution. What are some of the technologies? AI, intelligent algorithms, augmented reality, big data, Internet of Things, Internet of Everything, nanotechnology. By the way, don't tell me, no, those things are too complicated. Maybe they're for Japan. Maybe they're for America. Maybe they're for Europe. Guess what? If we are careful, if we are smart, some of these technologies are more applicable and more relevant to us because of our poverty. Our poverty becomes an advantage. Our lack of development can be an opportunity, and I'll demonstrate that. So don't shy away from high science and say, let us do, the old science because we're behind. Our lack of infrastructure can be an opportunity. Think about wireless telephony. Wireless telephony. When mobile phones came through, 90% of our people had no access to to telecommunication. 80% of our people had no access to banking. But guess what? With mobile telephony, everybody has a cell phone. Your gardener has a cell phone. Your maid has a cell phone, just like you. So mobile telephone is an equalizer. The old grand woman is got a cell phone, and we're banking on the phone. Mobile banking, Mupesa in Kenya, EcoCash in Zimbabwe. There's nothing in Japan, there's nothing in America that is as good as Mupesa. Nothing. Not because the Kenyans are smarter than the Americans. No, the Americans have banks everywhere. There's a bank in your bedroom, there's a bank downstairs. Where would you bank on a phone? Where would you bank on a phone when the bank is next door? But guess what? 80% of our people have no access to brick and mortar banking. That lack of development becomes an opportunity to drive mobile banking. Now we are the masters around mobile banking. The poor African is the master on mobile messages because we don't have physical phones. So I'm just encouraging ourselves that sometimes our poverty, sometimes our lack of development is an opportunity to leapfrog from no technology to technology. So as librarians scientists, think about leapfrogging. How can I be better than Japan? How can I be better than Harvard? By using technology. Harvard has all these resources, MIT, I don't have the resources, but can't I leapfrog? So autonomous vehicles, drones, 3D printing, but all these technologies, quantum computing, that's another interesting one. Quantum computing is a different way of doing computing at all. If you bring quantum computing and AI together, it's another massive revolution. Okay? Some definitions, I won't go too much into it. I want to just encourage us. When you say AI, it's a technical term. I know everyone saying AI, machine learning. Yes, please, but remember, these are scientific terms for engineers. So you must Google it or use ChatGPT. Don't use it too loosely. These are technical definitions. And you can Google is your friend, by the way. So you get the answer from Google or ChatGPT. But please, there's a definition for AI. There's a definition for strong AI. There's a definition for AGI. Okay? AI refers to the intelligence programmed into and demonstrated by machines. This capability is in contrast to natural intelligence that you have. Okay? Another one I want to emphasize is this AGI. The ultimate form of intelligence is called artificial general intelligence. Now, this is where we're saying that why can't you have in a machine general capabilities? It's one thing to build a robot that can give you coffee, and that's all it does. A robot that walks up and down, and that's all it does. But you do more than that. You eat, you play, you read. Can we have the same capabilities, multiple intelligence in the same machine? That's what we call artificial general intelligence. And it's harder than just AI. Okay, AGI. So as you do your research, look at AGI as an area. The idea is to have a device or machine with the ability to perform multiple tasks as opposed to specific competencies. That's harder than AI. Then the big one these days is what is called, generative AI. But before I go to generative AI, I want to make sure that when you say machine learning, when you say deep learning, again, all those things are defined, okay? If you want a picture, deep learning is a subset of machine learning. Machine learning is a subset of AI. So you can't say AI and machine learning. Already you can't because one is the subject of the other. Okay? So I'm saying that please have an understanding that deep learning is just a part of machine learning. Machine learning is part of AI. So be careful with the way you use these terms because one is a child of the other. But anyway, we don't spend too much time on that, but just to make sure that you have. The big one these days is generative AI, ChatGPT. What's new? Generative AI produces new knowledge. It's one thing to program knowledge into a machine, and the machine shows you knowledge. Quite another for the machine to produce new art, to produce a new presentation, to produce a new essay, to produce a new book. That's why there's so much excitement around ChatGPT. It is an AI with the capacity to produce new content, new knowledge. That's why it's fascinating. And what are the examples of that? ChatGPT from OpenAI, Google's Bard, Instability AI. Those are examples of generative AI. That's why the excitement, because you can write an essay. And by the way, it's not the same thing as Google. When you Google, Google gives you information that is existing already. ChatGPT creates new information. And every time you run it, it creates a different, for example, if you say, the rise and fall of Mussolini, it will write an essay on that. If you do it again, it will write another different one, not the same. It won't give you, it will write a different, same facts, but different phraseology. So that's what's exciting about it. You can use it in your financial modeling, library management systems. It is very fascinating because of the new content and new knowledge. That's what's new. But it is dangerous because it gives you false information confidently. It confidently lies. For example, if you were to put in, let's say, who is Professor Mutambara? It will get about 80% of the things right. It might get my date of birth wrong, my country of birth wrong, my degree, university wrong. But you say confidently, Professor Mutambara went to the University of Pretoria. He's got a PhD from Pretoria. I have a PhD, but not from Pretoria. But it will say it confidently. So use with care. And like Google is better, Google gives information that's correct, that's in there already. This one creates information. So what I found it doesn't get wrong are definitions. It will never get a definition wrong because there are about 5,000 books put in there. When you say macroeconomics, what do you mean? When you say quantitative easing, what do you mean? When you say ChatGPT, definitions it will be right. But facts, you've got to be very careful. But guess what? It is smarter than the smartest human being on general knowledge. Just general knowledge. Take your professor from MIT, your professor from Harvard, from UCT, and put them there. And say, hey, professor, tell me who is Julius Malema. They might say, oh, Julius who? I don't know that one. Tell me who is Snoopy Doggy Dog. Tell me who is Oliver Mtukudzi. Tell me who's... ChatGPT will answer all those things. It will tell you who's Snoopy Doggy Dog, who is Julius Malema, who is Nelson Chamisa, who is... But there is not a single human being who has the same level of general knowledge, no matter how smart you are. At MIT, they don't discuss Julius Malema. So the professor of rocket science won't know about Julius Malema, but ChatGPT will know. So it's a fascinating world of ChatGPT. Those are some of the... So it has taken the world by storm, this thing here. Because of the exponential growth of the program. Why are we excited about AI right now? Exponential growth. And by the way, AI has always been around. I did my PhD about a long time ago. We did this stuff, but it was very slow. Intelligence was very low. Think about it this way. We have basic level intelligence. The intelligence of a millipede, Zongororo, right? We move from millipede level, we go to mouse level intelligence. We move from mouse level, we go to monkey level. We move from monkey level, we go to Joe and Jane level. We go from Joe and Jane level, we go to Einstein. Now, if this thing is going exponential like that, what makes you think it will stop at Einstein? Don't be arrogant, people. I know you're human beings, but don't be arrogant. If this thing is growing from millipede to mouse to monkey to Joe Jane to Einstein, where would it level? It will go beyond Einstein. And what do you do now? Can we control 1 million agents that are smarter than Einstein, that are smarter than Elon Musk? I don't know. I don't think we can. Can we? But these are the dangers now. We haven't gotten there yet. But if we do get to a stage where the machine is beyond Einstein, what's called superintelligence, there is a problem. You have dogs at home, right? You have monkeys at home, you have cows, because you're smarter than them. You house them, right? Oh, you keep a dog because you're smarter, otherwise the dog will keep you, right? Now, so if these machines are smarter than us, they will keep us. Those are the dangers. We have not gotten there yet. These are the philosophical issues that we're grappling with, okay? superintelligence is not here yet, but might happen, okay? Why are we concerned? Here's a man who built the technology, Professor Geoffrey Hinton, a winner of the Turing Award. This is like your Nobel Prize in computing. He's the godfather of AI. He's the discoverer, the producer of what's called backpropagation. Now, this guy knows more than I do, more than you do, and he's worried. So you must be worried. Don't tell me I'm not worried. He's worried. You must be worried. He knows more than you. Okay? Yeah, so be worried. So he quit his job at Google, warning about the growing dangers from developments in the AI field. Not that we should take what he says as gospel, but it means there are potential dangers. There are daunting existential risks. If a man of his caliber, who discovered the technology, who is the winner of the Nobel Prize in computing, is walking away, we must take a deep breath. That's why we say there are daunting risks. And our own friend from South Africa, although he's a crazy character, but you know, a crazy but successful character. He's the CEO of SpaceX, he's CEO of Tesla, he's CEO of X. Are you a CEO? So be worried. What does he say? It has the potential of civilization destruction. Sure, he might not be right. He's kind of a crazy dude, right? But for him, as smart as he is to say this, there's something that he has seen. That's why President was saying that, you know, there are some potential dangers. We have not gotten there yet. We must think about them. We must mitigate. That's what we're saying, okay? Because of these issues of superintelligence. Why are we excited about AI, the potential? AI is going to add $7 trillion to global GDP. $7 trillion to global GDP. Global GDP is about $100 trillion. 7% increase from one technology. That's massive, massive. But we must be careful now as Africans. We must participate in the 7%. We might not be in that 7% if we don't use technology, AI in libraries, in academia, if we don't also develop the AI. That's another thing, by the way. We as Africans are sick and tired of being consumers of knowledge. We must be producers of knowledge. We must generate AI technologies in addition to using technologies. If we do that, we'll play a role in that 7% impact on GDP. Jobs. You're what about a job, isn't it? Yes, be worried, very worried. There are three categories of issues, Mr. President. There are jobs that are going to be destroyed. Let's not joke with each other. There will be job losses, what's called job displacement. I'll give you an example of a crude example. If your job was producing a typewriter, and you were a master at producing a typewriter, there will be no market. There's no market for typewriters right now, isn't it? So what happened to the guy who was designing typewriters? They had to get another job. That job was destroyed. So there will be some jobs destroyed by AI. There will be some jobs modified by AI. That's the majority, actually. It can't be business as usual. Most of our jobs as teachers, as educators, as librarians, is modified, improved by technology. So I don't think anyone will stay untouched. Most jobs are going to be modified. But the big one is going to be creation of new jobs. So we must understand those three categories: job destruction, job modification, and creation of new jobs. But it can't just follow and come through like manna from heaven. You must rescue the job losers. You must rescue and prepare for the modified jobs. You must build new skills and capabilities and competencies to take advantage of the new jobs. So you and I in the library, you and I in the academy, you and I in higher education have a duty and obligation to rescue, to create new capabilities so that we can take advantage of modified jobs and new jobs. And here is the kicker. continuous education. You are never fully educated. You must continuously learn. Mr. President, the day we stop learning is the day we die. I want to give you a dramatic example. Let's say you're a PhD in computer science from MIT, the top school in the world. From the year 2010, we take you with your PhD, we put you in a room in 2010. Stay there. We bring you out in 2023. Mr. PhD from MIT, can you Google? Can you tweet? Can you WhatsApp? The MIT PhD will be like, what do you mean WhatsApp? What is that? WhatsApp group, what is it? Because there was no WhatsApp in 2010. There was no Google in 2010. There was no Twitter in it. So that PhD from MIT is moribund and decadent because of lack of continuous education. So we must make sure we are continuously learning, irrespective of our station in life. As AI evolves, there must be continuous reskilling and education. And here's the question, the hope. Our hope is that the new jobs plus modified jobs will be much bigger than the destroyed jobs. But it's not guaranteed. We have to work for that. If that happens, then we're all happy, right? The new jobs and the modified jobs are much bigger than destroyed jobs, so there's no unemployment, according to AI. We are sorted. But that has to be worked for. It's not guaranteed, because the destroyed jobs might be more than the new jobs. And that's where Africa comes in. If all we're doing is applying AI atomically without building industries, without building technologies, our new jobs, our modified jobs will be less than destroyed jobs. Whereas America and Europe and Japan will enjoy the equation. We need a regulatory framework, we need policy intervention to make the equation a factual AI reality. Okay? AI is everywhere. Again, we need to change the law. The law is very conservative. If you bring to South Africa your driverless car, can you use it? What does the law say? Does the law allow a car to drive without a driver? And if you have an accident, who's going to be sued? So again, in addition to driving AI, we must drive legislation. We must drive the law. AI and the law must move together. The law is conservative. We need to create an enabling environment for AI. We must have what we call a dynamic law commission. Lawyers will just sit there to say, okay, where are the technologies, what are the laws, and so on. And this puts us to the idea again that we're now looking for Renaissance men and women, Mr. President. Don't tell me I'm a specialist in rocket science. That's all I do. I'm a specialist in law. That's all I do. I'm a physicist. If you are a specialist who doesn't know anything else, you are not going to be successful under AI. We want a Renaissance man, a Renaissance woman, an engineer who understands history, an engineer who understands the law, a physicist who understands the difference between constitutionalism and constitutionality, a lawyer who can do some coding, a sociologist who understands the definition of machine learning. Why am I saying this? For you to be successful under the fourth industrial revolution, you must be broad-minded. You must be an all-rounder. Not necessarily a specialist in everything, but fairly comfortable with various fields. Multidisciplinary approach, so that you are able to function and move. Okay, these are examples of hallucinations. I mean, in South Africa, ChatGPT, some lawyers use this thing. And what happened is, the ChatGPT produced non-existent judgments, names and citations which are fictitious, facts and decisions that are, so use with care. Technology is your friend. When this happens, we call it hallucination. AI can do hallucinations. You have to watch out for these hallucinations. What are the implications for education? The way we teach must change. The content must change. The the platforms must change in the library. You must change your platforms, you must change your content. The way you define plagiarism has to be different. The way you track it has to be different. Copyright violations, copyright definitions also have to be defined differently. And so there are major complications and dangers across. And then we need to mitigate and manage integration of this to that. We must have what's called ethically and responsible appropriate safeguards to mitigate risks. The dangers persist, but we must do mitigation at national level, mitigation at continental level, but we must accept the reality of change. What should we work for? Remember, I said technology is your friend. We must concentrate on developing responsible AI for solving global problems. What are your problems? Load shedding, stage 100. So why don't you use AI to solve load shedding? Why don't you use AI to solve poverty in Africa? Why don't you use AI to address climate change? Why don't you use AI to drive education? Africans must be key players, not just consumers, in the development of AI. We must proactively use AI to solve African problems. And we must also be participants and owners of the technology. Who owns AI? The ownership of the technology is very important because he or she who owns it will determine the usage thereof. Okay? And technology is your friend. What should you do as a university? These 6 things must be done in corporate, in universities. You must create what's called a treasure map. Every one of you, when you go back, tell them, I have a 6-point plan for AI. Your first point is the AI transformation roadmap. Please, Mr. President, tell us your AI transformation roadmap. The second thing is, you must build a talent bench. Who are you going to have driving AI, the human capital? You must build a talent bench. Your current operating model doesn't work under AI. You need a new operating model in your library, in your university. Your current operating model won't work under AI. You must adopt a new operating model. You must produce a distributed technology environment so that teams can innovate across organization. Distributed technology environment so teams can innovate across organization. Embedded data, every data is the new oil. How are you harvesting data in the library? How are you harvesting data in the university? Ubiquitous access and use of data. And then, of course, finally, unlocking user adoption and enterprise scaling. These are what McKinsey and Company has come up with. They've looked at several companies. You know, McKinsey and Company are the best consulting firm in the world because I worked for them in Chicago. So McKinsey and Company is your best consulting firm in the world. They've studied several companies throughout the world, and they come up with these 6 things. If you try to do something like this, you'll be able to survive or flourish under the AI revolution. Those 6 issues there. Okay? And you must make sure that if you do that, you can outcompete and succeed under that. Higher education. New content, we've said already, it cannot be business as usual. We are now emphasizing, Mr. President, employability. At UCT, are those graduates employable? So we must make sure that our graduates at UKZN, at UJ, at UP are employable. Don't tell me they have a certificate. they have an MBA, they have a PhD. How employable does industry want them? Which means acquisition of critical skills, acquisition of critical competencies is more important than a certificate. The world now says, don't show me your certificate from Harvard. Show me what you can do. Show me what you can deliver. Show me your capabilities. Show me your value add. That's what's new now. Show me what you can do. Don't show me your certificate, BA, BSc, MA, or PhD from Harvard. I want to know what you can do. So as officials in the library, as officials in the academy, let us concentrate on making sure our products are employable and our products can show the employer what they can do. But more importantly, they also become job creators. They form companies. What are the key issues? We're now summarizing blended learning. How are you facilitating blended learning? Learning how to learn. How are you doing that for the students? Mastering how to think. Acquiring problem-solving capabilities. Structured thinking. Transdisciplinarity. Multidisciplinarity, cross-disciplinarity. I've already talked about the Renaissance man and woman. A biologist who understands the Constitution. A biologist who understands the Bible. All anchored in a multidisciplinary ecosystem, the private sector, government working together. It's an ecosystem. We must all work together to make this happen. Okay? So we are finishing, and I'm trying to emphasize that the academy is being disintermediated. The other people now are coming in to just give skills. No degrees, just take the people, give them skills, send them to the industry. So if you don't reform, you are going to have a challenge in the academy. So we must have new areas of research. AI and health, AI and climate change, the future of health, all these things that can be worked on. Law and technology, digital sovereignty, the future of work. What is the work of the future? All these are things we can work on as we do this. As we conclude, I want to make sure that we are clear that the AI revolution is not happening in a vacuum. The good old things are important. Good governance is important. Please don't be corrupt. AI is here, but if there's corruption, we can't go anyway. Please don't steal elections. Because if you steal elections, AI won't help you. Please, let's work together in the continent. So, yes to AI, but we need to provide infrastructure. Give us water, give us power, give us a roads network, give us a railway system. Because if there's no infrastructure, we can take advantage of AI. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, I nearly shouted hallelujah. But if you know you are happy, clap your hands. But this is not an AI way of clapping hands. An AI way of clapping hands, we say, let us try it. Let us try it. Exactly. So what I got from the good professor is that we also need to, if we want to go far, we have to go together. That was his introductory remarks. And he has said a mouthful. I am not going to say anything to repeat what he has said, even the library in the bedroom. But he was talking about the bank. But for us, we need the DDC for that library in the bedroom. And having said that, earlier on when we were at breakfast, I heard the chef saying to me, "Well done." I said, "Thanks." Only to find that she was referring to the eggs. And Prof, I'm saying well done, Prof. I'm not referring to the omelette or the eggs. I'm saying makorokoto. And having said that, colleagues, the floor is open for questions and comment, and even the virtual floor. And I'm not going to allow people to present the keynote address again. Just straight to the point. By raise of hands, I will allow 3 questions, and then if time allows, we'll have another round. I see a hand from Ujala and Siviwe. In that order, please.
Oh, okay, this thing works. Prof. Mutambara, I'm tempted to ask you a political question, but I've decided not to do it because Prof won't allow me here. But really, one concern that was raised yesterday, I think it was the president of Liasa, to say, without literacy, basic literacy skills, you cannot really AI. So, and also there were concerns that it has a potential to cause even deeper, digital divides, say among, the people in the country and even between countries worldwide. So, to what extent would you, agree that it has that potential to widen the digital divide? And what do you propose as possible remedies for that? Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for that really fascinating and a reality check also in part. I just want I would like you to expand a little bit on the attributes that you would like or you would encourage people in the library and information services sector to display or to learn, so that when we embrace 4IR, because increasingly my concern is that people in the sector see 4IR and AI as a panacea to many things, without really understanding the realities around the whole issue of AI and 4IR. And understanding, as you presented today, the multifaceted aspects of all of this. So from your perspective and a sector reality check, you talk about a renaissance man and women. How many of us are actually as broad-minded as that? And so what is it? What would be your parting shots for us?
We have the last question that side.
Thank you very much, Prof, for such a fascinating presentation. My concern would be, how do you validate and verify the knowledge base of ChatGPT, and how can you use it as a trusted, knowledge base? Because as librarians, we are used to managing a knowledge base, and we know its reliance, we know its authenticity, but how do you get about verifying and validating the knowledge base? Thank you.
Thank you. I will allow Prof to respond to the questions, and then I'll allow the other 2 colleagues later to ask the question.
Thank you very much. Literacy, that's one of the foundational issues. We got to remember that for us to take advantage of the AI revolution, we must have basic literacy. We must have basic education. But what you can also say is, how do I use AI to drive basic literacy? This is where the creativity comes in now. Number one, yes, it's very important. Yes, it's very foundational. But you can also use AI to drive that basic literacy, to enhance it and move faster. But very important, it's foundational. The digital divide, very serious problem. If we are not careful, the gap between the haves and the have-not is going to be huge. Because AI has so many opportunities which will drive others up and making the richer richer and the poor poorer. Because the poor have no access to the technology, they have no access. So the gap can be very huge. But as I said earlier on, if we are creative, if we are smart, if we are innovative, we can say, how can I use AI to solve access to water, to solve access to food, to solve poverty? But it's only you and I who are going to do that. It's only you, because they don't have load shedding stage 100 in Los Angeles. That's your problem. So we must make sure that as Africans, as poor people or people in developing countries or what's called the global south, we actively use technology to solve our own problems. If we don't, yes, the gap, the digital divide is going to be huge. Attributes, very important question. I think you must embrace this idea of continuous learning and knowing that I don't know enough. And you must also be a multidisciplinary approach person. You might have been trained as a library information system expert. Look at literature, look at be broad-minded. Don't be stuck in a field. So we want the attributes to be those people seeking more knowledge, people who are embracing the Renaissance men and women. It's a hard sell. I try. I mean, if you look at my books here, I got political books here, economics, I got engineering, I got rocket science. I'm trying to walk the talk of the Renaissance man and woman. But you can never be complete. But you must have the appetite to learn. That's what I think could be the attributes. And also, don't be afraid of technology. I know when you're older, you get scared of technology. If you give a young person, a little boy, 5 years, 6 years, a new phone, to figure out how it works, without a handout. But you, it could be tough because you're a bit old, right? So don't have technophobia. In other words, you must love technology, experiment with technology. Those are some of the attributes. How do you validate or verify? Very tough. You must just do a SWOT analysis on ChatGPT. What are the strengths of ChatGPT? You identify them. What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities? What are the threats? What I can tell you, it is very good at analyzing things, very good at definitions. You know what they do? They load 5,000 books into the system on economics, 5,000 books on engineering, 5,000 books on law, so that you never get the technical issues wrong. But facts, you can't put every fact in there. They can't put my birthday in there. And ChatGPT will make it up. But ChatGPT doesn't want to say, I don't know. So you must know that, well, when it comes to facts, I must check. But definitional issues, what is quantitative easing? It will give you an answer. What is machine learning? It will define it perfectly. Because they've loaded 5,000 books on AI, 5,000 books on finance. So those, it won't get wrong, analysis and so on, but the facts are dodgy. So it's difficult, it's an open question about validating and verifying. But you do a SWOT analysis, understand the strengths, the limitations, and the opportunities of ChatGPT. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. We are running out of time. The two colleagues that I promised, can you be quick and straight to the point? And can those people, delegates that are attending online, also write in the chat box for their questions or comments? Just a quick 5 seconds, please.
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you, Prof. My quick question is on ethical considerations. I've listened and attended so many workshops around ChatGPT and AIs, and this is a thorn issue to me as a librarian and as I teach students on what to do. Now, when I'm listening to people, we get to a point to say, be careful how you use ChatGPT and other AIs. However, you have sort of given a way forward on how to move in terms of refining plagiarism and, defining plagiarism and copyright. My take is here we are having all stakeholders who are also part of copyright and plagiarism. Can we, as LIASA, look at the redefining of plagiarism and copyright if we have those powers to do so? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Mzwandile Khatebe from Free State Public Libraries. I had 2 questions, but because of time, I'll just stick to one. Prof, let me pull your leg a little bit up on the side of public libraries. I understand, I read your bio, but I think me and the other colleagues in the public library space or sector, we're quite concerned when we hear a lot about AI. And I just want to hear your view, in that regard, bearing in mind the public libraries and the librarians, and considering what we as a country we are going on in terms of the challenges that we're facing, and government keep on cutting expenditures. So us, getting on that lane to push and trying to increase in terms the level of services that we provide to our users using AI. I just want to hear your view on that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Prof.
I'll be very, very brief. Ethical consideration is very important. There's so many ethical dilemmas in the AI discussion. Even our own religious views are being challenged. I mean, if you can build a machine that shows, that's another thing, by the way, intentionality. Can you build a machine that has intention? It's one thing to build a machine that obeys you. Intentionality means building a machine that says, today I'm not going to obey you. No, I won't. Just like you defy your boss, right? You say, I'm not going to do this. A machine that defies the coder. Intentionality. Can you build a machine that shows emotions? Love. A machine that shows embarrassment. It's work in progress. It will happen. When it happens, what does it mean to your God? So there are major ethical issues, but I like the way you've come up with a proactive solution. Why don't you work together as an ecosystem, LIASA, and come up with the framework, regulatory framework? We must work together and maybe drive the national agenda around regulation. So we as an ecosystem can come up with a way of redefining plagiarism, copyrights, and how to handle them, but let's work as a team. And not only that, also come up with national regulations. Not only that, go to the region and come up with a regional framework and also continental framework. Public libraries are very important. What we need to do is to make sure the government understands the value of the library and invest more money in the library. Why? Because the library is an incubator of human capital. So human capital will drive the economy. So what is important is to realize the value of the library so that we can benefit from the public library and then use AI to drive that library. So what's required is advocacy to drive the government appetite to fund. But as I conclude, let me say this. I know we are in different areas, we're experts in this subject and the other, But we must also make sure we solve our problems as Africans. We solve our problems as South Africans as the Global South members. Why? Because you might say, I'm a superstar librarian. I don't care about politics. I'm a superstar professor from UCT. I don't care about politics. But guess what? You will never be respected as a South African until South Africa has done well as a country. You'll be judged by the success or lack of it of the average South African. Pushing it up to the continent. You will never be respected as an African until the African continent has done well as an entire continent. You know, I used to go to the World Economic Forum in Davos and speak. And they say, yeah, we like what you're saying, brother. Where are you from? And I refuse to answer. I keep talking. I'm from MIT, NASA, rocket science. I've done some books, and I'm coming from McKinsey. We know that it's in your resume. Where are you from? I refuse to answer. Eventually, I say, I'm from Zimbabwe. Then, come on. If you are that smart, how come your country is messed up? If you are that smart, how come there's cholera in Harare and Bulawayo? Shame on you, Mutambara. You are no rock star.
It was mouthful indeed. What I've taken from the whole presentation going forward is that we should be all-rounders in our inter, and cross-disciplinarity. And remember the ancient philosophers, your Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato. They were doing everything, from medicine to literature. So it all comes back with AI. It's telling us that we don't have to be narrow in our discipline. So as we conclude, ladies and gentlemen, by the power vested upon me, I would like to convey my gratitude to Professor on behalf of Liasa for sharing with us his wisdom. And for that, we are giving a token of appreciation, and he should declare his interest. And having said that, let us give him an AI round of applause. Thank you.
Okay, before you leave, shh. Thank you. Before you leave, I hope that you're energized for the rest of the day. Ah, come on. Are you energized for the rest of the day? There we go. If you weren't energized before, you should be energized now. And if you aren't, there's something wrong with you, and you need artificial intelligence to do something for you.